Hello, everybody. Look, it's Janine. I'm not allowed to say that. Oh, actually, I'm going to put this on Rumble, I think. So we can say what we want. Should we say what we want?
Yay.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you doing, Mark?
Good. Look, my son just bought me this T-shirt. Do you like it?
I love it.
God save
Spectacular.
the Queen, the fascist regime. She ain't no human being.
Yeah,
1977, I think.
yeah.
Johnny Rotten was way ahead,
Way ahead of the game. Yeah.
and he told us about Jimmy Savile.
Wow.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was an interview on the BBC he did in 1978 that the BBC never
Ooh.
aired.
Wow. I should deep dive on him then.
Well, yeah, because I went
Fascinating.
to see him in concert about
Yeah.
a month ago, and Johnny Rotten's one of my all-time heroes. But yeah, deep dive on him because he was still, when you really dig into the Tavistock Institute and the Beatles and Paul McCartney and all of that stuff, it does make
Yeah.
you wonder
Yeah.
about any of the pop stars that we grew
Yeah.
up with. So yeah, let's start with Johnny Rotten.
Yeah. Like, do you think planted like almost to lead the population into a certain, or maybe a brainwashing with some of those bands?
Oh, definitely.
Is that what you're thinking? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the sad thing about it because
Yeah.
I love the Beatles, I love all that stuff, and
Yeah.
then we've just had to let go of everybody.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
But it's been very interesting the people that have spoken out in the last 2 years. So
Mhm.
in the UK, musically, the band Right Said Fred, they've been consistently against the whole narrative,
Yeah.
which has been very interesting. And one of my favorite ever artists ever, Ian Brown from the Stone Roses, he's been really powerfully against it. So they're not all part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless they're controlled opposition.
Yeah. I guess we're not going to really know, I think, until when the dust settles a year from now or two. I'm hoping sooner, but it'll probably take a couple of years to settle the dust and really sort through who was doing what in the movie. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, well, that's why we love you reading the cards because we're all just stabbing in the dark, aren't we?
Yeah, we definitely are. Yeah. Sometimes the universe gives us a little clue. It's good.
Yeah. So should we do a little dig on Johnny Rotten then?
Let's do it. Yeah, it's a great start. Let's have a look. So it'll be helpful.
Sorry.
It'll be helpful if you think about what he looks like, because I can't remember. So you visualize him for me.
I can do better than that. I can do even better than that. Let's get a picture of him. Just seeing his face makes me smile. Here we go. He's far more eloquent than people realize. There he is.
Ah, right. Okay, now I remember.
He's a bit lardy these days, but he's still got it.
Yeah. And how old would he be now?
I think he's about 68.
Oh boy, you're gonna love this. Okay, he's like definitely from off planet and or non-human per se, or a hybrid. That card came up, the star, so he's from off world or whatever that means. Because I'm not saying we don't live on a flat plane or we live on a round plane, or I don't know. I'm thinking it's more complex than that. So now I'm just saying other dimensional. He's another dimensional being and very, very evolved. So he would have been many lifetimes going, I get galactically to places that needed his help. And he's been fighting this. So the bad guys, Cabal, whatever, Illuminati, he's been fighting that bunch for a really long time in various different places.
Oh, and I'm getting confirmation of that as you say it. I'm getting the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. And as a small child, he was visited, I think, by off-worlders. So I wonder, have you ever heard that he has sort of stories about that? Was he ever telling stories about off-world contact?
I've never seen him do that, but when I saw him in concert in Dublin about a month ago, he was very anti the the narrative, but in a subtle way. I think most people would look at him and think he wasn't subtle at all, but actually I think he's incredibly articulate and subtle, and he sings like an opera singer. He's very operatic, which I didn't realize until I saw him live. But no, I've never seen him speak about aliens, but maybe a bit of research on that. That'd be an interesting subject.
Yeah.
Well, that's good news. Johnny Rotten's good.
Yay.
Phew. That's good. My intuition's not too bad.
Yeah.
I did tell people on the Telegram channel, excuse me, if you're watching this and you're not on my Telegram channel, click the links below and go on Janine's Telegram. Excellent output on there, Janine. And I've got some questions here from the subscribers. So I'll just go through these and we'll see if we can get through these. So Gillian Bennington Gill says, "Hi Mark, many thanks. Janine has uplifted me so many times these last 3 years. So grateful. Please ask Janine if she could do a reading on the John O'Looney interview with Catherine Waters from One Great Network. In it, he says info that the influx of refugees in many countries are really UN soldiers who will go door to door arresting the unvaxxed. Many thanks."
Okay.
So I've heard this from a few people, actually, Janine. There's been a lot of Ukrainians coming into Ireland, and some of my friends who live in Dublin have said that they all look like soldiers.
Yep. So there's a whole bunch of yeses around it. Okay. So they are soldiers, but here's the kicker. They're working for humanity's freedom. So either it was going to be a ploy by the bad guys and it got swapped out by the good guys. Secretly, that's been changed. So they're going to work towards the freedom. So they could even be on the ground soldiers working for the good when things bust loose. So when all, what hits the fan, they're going to be working for your sovereignty, not for your enslavement. So they're not operated by the bad guys at this point.
That resonates with me. I think that's exactly what's going on, because I heard, for example, in fact, can we do a question? This was a question from me. Yeah. I've got some contacts in Ireland who say that they're connected to the White Hats, and they told me about 3 weeks ago that they'd heard that the Irish government was dismantled, has capitulated, and has been dismantled. Could we do a reading on that, please?
Yeah. So I get that every time I do readings on it too. Okay, so we're getting a soft yes, but there are still some who haven't got the memo. In particular, a woman who's very demonic. And some woman, I don't know who that is, but this is a very demonic woman who's got a lot of power in Ireland right now. And she's still on the bad guy's side, causing trouble.
I think I know who that is.
Yeah. So she's still carrying out her duties or minion duties or whatever. But they're, for the most part, so the soft yeses, not every one of them have capitulated, but largely.
Interesting. Yeah. There's what came to mind. There's a really famous, well, they're not famous. Mainstream people would never have heard of them, but there's a really, really deeply powerful family based here, connected to the Phoenicians, but I can't remember the name. So I guess it would be her. That's good. Hope you like the answer to that, Gillian.
Okay, that is who I'm talking about. Got the same card. That's who I'm talking about. Wow. Yeah.
Interesting. Right, I've got a question here from Pauline. Pauline is asking about this thing that's going on around online at the moment, which is the mRNA vaccination of animals expected to begin by the end of the year. So around the world, countries will be launching a campaign to vaccinate billions of pigs, cows, goats, and sheep over a period of 9 months. This massive task is an effort to enhance the biosecurity system. What a load of bollocks. Is that going to happen? Do we think? Because what they're talking about there is really vaccinating the food supply, right?
Okay. That's a white hat op.
Yeah.
To show you just how, because this is our Galactic Helper card. So the Galactic Helpers are in charge of that information. They're the ones who circulated the information. So that's the White Hats, the Alliance, whatever. Lots of names you could call them. So it was something put out there because it's gonna come useful down the line. So it's not gonna be done, but they're going to show you, they're going to point back at this stuff. I've been seeing a lot of that lately, where they're putting things in there so you know what these guys are capable of and what the plan was.
Yeah.
And then they're going to point to that and go, you guys almost let this happen. They're going to use it to teach us to never let this stuff happen. It's not going to be fun, especially for us truthers and the communities, around us, because we already know, we already saw it, but a whole lot of people don't. So they're going to utilize those kind of things and point back at them and go, you actually read this and didn't just freak out about it. What the heck?
Well, it's like Q said, you have to show people.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I did a live event in Ireland a couple of weeks ago, Janine, with some heavy hitting people, journalists and other kind of philosophical truthers and some spiritual healers. And it was amazing how much fear they were still spreading, because they're still locked in the 3D version. And I felt like I couldn't mention Q. It was strange. It's supposed to be in a room of awake people. And I thought, do you know what? If I mention Q here, it's going to open up a massive can of worms, and it's going to turn into a big argument, and I can't be bothered with the argument. But it's very, very interesting how even some of the so-called most enlightened people haven't got this yet.
Yeah. Especially
in this country. I don't know what it's like in Canada. Although I do have a friend who's a truck driver over there, and he says it's shocking.
Yeah, shocking's a good word. Yeah.
Can I ask you a selfish question?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've got Janine on. I'm going to ask you something just popped into my head. I don't know if you know, but I now have the ability to call in ships on demand, right? And I've had that since last year. And I'll briefly tell you this story because and I'm sorry to anybody that's heard this story before, but I've got Janine on. I want to ask her the question, right? So I got an email from somebody who said they know that you look up every night, because I've looked up every night of my life since I was a little boy. And I've seen thousands and thousands of UFOs over the years. And I'm an ex-pilot, so I know what the difference between a ship and a plane is. And cut a long story short, they told me how to connect with a star and then to telepathically communicate, and it did. And basically this ship showed up, and it started out as a light that came across the sky like this really slowly. It was beautiful, it was huge, and it was very low. And then suddenly the sky lit up, and there was this huge triangular ship with rounded corners that was kind of like a burnt orange color, and it was covered in black hieroglyphics. And it was there for a split second, and then it Star Trekked off.
Wow.
Could you please do a reading on who that was?
Okay. Interesting. Is there a woman around you who's had visitations that you know of?
Yeah.
Somehow they're connected to her.
Ooh.
Who's that? Is she related to you, or just a friend?
Yeah, there's a few friends that come to mind.
Yeah, and we've got the Nine of Cups. So because you wished for, intended, and visualized and welcomed them, okay, they uncloak themselves. So they're around a lot and can uncloak or take the cloaking off. I guess that's a better way to say it. Take the cloaking off at will, but you need somebody really aware who's doing their work, and then make a wish, basically. That's the make a wish card. Because you wished them there, they showed themselves. And they're going to do that a lot more to humans. In fact, you're going to see a lot more of this. People are going to start discovering that they can all do it too. But you need to be loving yourself, self-loving. Like there's a certain amount of evolution you have to have achieved. Yeah.
I got that feeling at the time, and it was all a confirmation. And that's the thing that's grounded me and given me the courage to carry on with this work, because I know that's real. And, and what I'm doing, it's actually my party piece now. If I go to a group of people, they are, call the ships in. And I did it the other week at a party in Dublin or in Wexford. And the ships came in, and there were 30 people there. It was just amazing. And I'm teaching other people how to do it now, which is great. Thank you for that. That's pretty cool. I'll go back to one of the subscriber questions. This is from Jackie Lally. Hi, Mark. Can you ask if the current policy of population replacement here in Ireland and in other European countries will continue, or will it be stepped back? I think I already know the answer to this, but what do the cards say?
Well, are you now talking about those foreigners coming in that look like soldiers?
Well, there's the ones that are the soldiers, but there's also a lot of huge amount of displacement going on in terms of immigrants. And look, I have nothing against the immigrants at all, but the immigration is every Irish town has 20-30% immigrants now. It's 5 years ago unheard of. So there's a massive change going on here. And I know it's the same in Germany, and I know it's the same in Sweden and all these places. So I don't think necessarily it's about the soldiers. I think it's just like this population displacement idea. I think they're all going to go home when there's no reason not to go home. But they've all kind of believed that there is a reason to go somewhere else at the moment.
Yeah, I think it gets stressful before it gets better. So it'll look like, so this card's about stressing out about something that's actually not going to be the case. Okay, so some of the stories have been hyped up, I'm going to say, when this card comes. It's like there's a lot of fear porn out there, so that you could take down a little notch on how bad it is, although it's definitely happening and it looks bad. But like you said, they end up going home, going back somewhere, or going somewhere else, because they don't stay long, it looks like. So there's going to be things happening, especially in the financial sector, that sends them somewhere else. Yeah, there's a big change around the finances, to the good, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it seems logical, because there's definitely a new financial system coming in. We can see it everywhere around us. And most of the immigrants that are here because of economic reasons. So if they've got a great place to go back to, I mean, I think it will become natural then, because immigration's a good thing, when it's natural. If it wasn't for immigration, I would never have had a curry. And chicken tikka masala is the #1 food in Britain, and I'm very grateful to the Indians that came and gave us that wonderful food. And they're great people. They're all great people. It's just they've got to get back to balance. Right, next question. Yeah, this is from D. I do love the fact that people don't put their full names up on Telegram or social media. I thought this was an interesting question. Is gravity orchestrated to keep us from our true levitating selves?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, never heard that one, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking they're onto something there.
So I did as well.
Held. Something that holds us, and who held us? That's my Cabal card.
Yeah.
So held by the dark cult. You better believe it's a holding, some kind of a holding. And interesting, it's been spell casted. So it's words and thoughts that created it, not something literal. So even telling us there's gravity, even telling us for thousands of years about gravity, explaining it, we've been secretly spell casted to believe it's true. So as long as you believe in it, you're going to stay stuck in it. You'd have to do a lot of work to undo everything you were taught in school right from the beginning, generations of what they've been saying about the earth, how the shape of it. I don't think it's any of the things they say. I think it's a big moving situation. I think it's something in motion, almost like a funnel. Like, I just don't feel like it's flat or round. So I feel like everything's going to change when disclosure happens. There's going to be a lot of changes. some of us won't feel comfortable, but if you're the type who works on being open to change and sort of sees change as a good thing, then you're gonna be loving the future. But some people will not be able to handle it.
Yeah, that one, I mean, I was drawn to that question because my recurring dream throughout my life was walking through a park between two rows of trees and then just taking off and just flying. I've always dreamt about flying since I was little. That's why I became a pilot, because I just wanted to fly since I came here. And I just love that idea. It'd be wonderful. Good question. Good question. Thanks, Dee. Next one, Jackie Lee. Now, I don't know who this is, but I thought it was an interesting question, and I was going to look it up, but I didn't have time. But I'm going to ask it anyway. Please ask if Yuval Noah Harari is a white hat actor to wake up the sheeple, or if he's really as demonic as he appears. Huge thanks, Jackie Lee. Do you know who that is?
Nope.
All right. Shall I look them up so we can get a picture?
Up to you. I can go with the name though. Maybe look them up.
An Israeli historian. Oh, it's this guy. I do recognize him. I'll just put his face up so that you can see him. I think, yeah, this is the guy that works with. Yeah, he's the one who talks about editing humans.
Right. Okay, right. So he seems completely robotic, and he's saying things that are almost absurd. Yeah.
Horrible. Yeah.
Let's have a look. Like, if that doesn't wake up the sleepers listening to that, then there's something wrong with them. Seriously.
Well, there is something wrong with them. They're asleep.
Okay. All right. Yep. Good point. Okay, so we've got the 9 of Cups and this guy's a plant. He's a white plant. Okay, he's trying to he's like the extreme version of what they're doing, and he's exposing. He's all about exposure. This is all going to come to light. This is their way of changing and getting people to wake up. It's like, it's exposing. Okay, they wouldn't expose to that degree that guy exposes, and a lot of these people, they've sped up. So they, being the white hats, the alliance, they've sped things up to put it all in your face so we can get this figured out. Okay, because otherwise they would have quietly, sneakily killed us all off in the next 30 years. Starting 3 years ago, they've been trying to do it for years and years, maybe since the beginning of time, but in particular, they had this agenda. And they're just trying to show you guys and show everybody out there just how demonic it is. So they put these actors in place. Yeah.
This movie's been going on for longer than most of us realize. And I had that realization in 2020 when I started my YouTube channel. Because I'd known about this. I'd read the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. I'd read all David Icke's books. I'd been awake for 20 years. I knew this was coming. And when it came, energetically, it was off the charts for me. And the spiritual experiences were crazy. But then I got told to start a YouTube channel. And I had this one simple idea. And that was, if the bad guys were really in control, we'd already be dead. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that same thing. Like the way I was calling out the royals there towards the end, the gray suits would have picked me up. Seriously, there's no way they'd let me be talking smack about them like that.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that Tom Numbers just walked into America last week.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you going on the Truth Tour? Are you signed up? Are you on that?
No, I didn't know about it. No, I didn't get.
I thought I saw your face on one of the websites, but
I was. I think I was invited from Kevin. What was that fellow's name? Hoyt.
Kevin Hoyt. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. And but I was on the big video. But I'm dealing with a lot of stuff here, so I'm thinking I gotta get this situation handled next door to me. And yeah.
Fair play. But I'm coming over and doing the tour with Tom. I don't know if you know that. We're going to do 35 days.
Awesome. And you're going to be in America?
Yeah.
But not Canada? Are you doing Canada?
No.
Yeah. So maybe I can meet up with you guys in US.
Yeah, we'll go to truthtour.net. That tells you where we're going. And if there's
Yeah,
anything
okay.
close to where you are,
Yeah.
I'm not
Okay, I'll
exactly.
have to check it out. Yeah, I'll have to
I
check it
haven't
out.
memorized. I've not memorized the tour yet. It's on that website. But
Okay.
speaking of touring, somebody's asked a question here about Manchester. Now, I'm going to ask this because I've been extremely blessed, Janine, that I manifested this. It was amazing. I was talking to somebody a few weeks ago about continuing the tour because I did this live show with Charlie Ward and the gang in May, and I presented that for 7 hours, and we were looking for a new venue. We found the venue, and then we got closed down. And I was talking to somebody a few weeks ago, and I said, there must be a wake venue owners out there, and eventually they're going to get in touch with us. And then I got an email a week later from an amazing venue who said they had a meeting, and they said they wanted me to put a show on. So I put this show on in Manchester in November, and it's now as of yesterday, it's sold out.
Wow.
So we've got 400 people coming to this event, and it's going to be like a spiritual healing, happy day. And somebody said, could you ask about that? So I'm going to ask you, how's it going to go? Is it going to be a good event? Is it going to be a good thing? Because we've got a really high vibe about it, but what do the cards say about this event?
Okay. And aren't you doing one in the desert too?
Yeah, I'm doing a retreat in the Sahara Desert in November as well, straight after the show in Manchester.
I heard you mention it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about the one in Manchester. Okay.
Well, that's the question, yeah.
Is there something legal you still need to sort out?
No.
How about papers, signing papers?
No.
Okay. Because this card's, the other way you could read it is karma.
Okay.
So I wonder if it all fell in place because karmically you might be connected to the person that offered the venue, or somehow everybody coming together. There's a karmic reason why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, there is. I can't say what the venue is on here, but I've been connected. I've been connected to this venue in a very strange way over 30 years.
Yeah, there's definitely some past life situation involved that created you to be there at this time. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay,
yeah.
So we've got moving out of troubled water. So a lot of things come together right in the last hours, days before. So don't get stressed out. Things could get a little stressful right before, like the week before kind of thing, and then it all works out, all comes together. You might have to magic a few things. So visualize and intend. If all of a sudden you hit some walls trying to get there, or something falls through, you need to just stay really focused and visualize and call to you what you need. There's a lot of magic around here. We've got, there could be a hold up with something that could even be you going somehow, a threatened hold up that gets sorted out right at the end. So don't stress. Just remember I said that, right? And some people, now, who did you invite? I wonder if somebody can't make it, an important person. Somebody already saying they can't make it?
Not yet.
They might lose somebody or the ability to go for some reason, and it's an emotional reason. So losing a person or a pet or an emotional situation could hold up or actually create someone important, maybe not to make it or find it really hard to get there.
Okay, that's really interesting.
But the thing itself is incredibly healing. And there's something really healing for you there, not just the audience. So for you to be there, somehow there's a big shift healing, and it feels karmic. So there's a past life, like the venue and you have some history for some reason. Well, I feel like you being there at that date and doing what you're doing could even shift the energy of the venue itself for the good.
Ooh, well. There's a very interesting, I find this interesting, and I'm going to tell you because you might not have heard this, because I know you can't watch every show. My name's Mark Outwood, M.A. I lived in Manchester, M.A. The old name for Manchester was Mamcunia, MA. It was known as the City of Light. I lived in Manchester for 27 years. All my children were born in Manchester. I then worked in marketing. I lived in, my first house was on Markington Street. I moved to Marrakesh, lived there. The real name for Morocco is Maghreb. So this Ma, and Ma in Lemurian is the word for first light, the first light of creation. And Manchester's the City of Light. So it all connects. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay,
thanks for
that makes sense. I feel like you're clearing energy by doing the show on the date you chose.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just being physically there is literally going to clear some energy. On that site, something happened that's karmically connects you to it, and you're going to heal that trauma, whatever it was, and you're going to feel like I'm getting the words like you have wings after that. If you don't already, like, yeah, it's going to accelerate your feeling that you can fly, let's say.
Fantastic. Thank you. Brilliant. Guys, if you're coming to Manchester, we're going to have a great day. Okay, I put this one in because it's from somebody called Mimi. And the reason I put it in is because it made me laugh. Can you ask Janine when this shit show will be over?
I'd like to know too.
Yeah. You can't do dates, can you, Janine? Because it's always shifting.
It's always shifting. Yeah, it's interesting, but we can just get a general feeling of it. Right now, how does it look? Let's have a look. The star, and well, things have really speeded up, and that is true. So that a lot of things have really sped up. Also, it feels like there's a lot more input from the galactic helpers. It's like something shifted for the positive, and they're more able to help. So I don't know what that was, but they're actually more active, which is interesting that you're calling the ships now. I've heard a lot of people. I was sitting out on my sort of a stoop I have with a wonderful view of the sky above. It's a beautiful view. And I saw some really interesting streaks that seemed to take way, like they were way too big to be falling stars.
Yep.
And too bright and lasted too long going across in front of my vision.
I saw two of them the other night.
Yeah. Exactly. Like things are getting crazy out there. And I feel like they're going to help speed things up. So we've got, they were doing things really carefully in the past. That's careful and diplomatic. And we know why. I know why, because they needed things to be, they didn't want civil war. They don't want civil war. They don't want Trump to be blamed for everything. They don't want, you know what I mean? There's all of these careful, there's been this careful that was in the past. Okay, and it's all for the good of humanity. Also, some financial situations had to come into place or come into being. So a whole lot of financial changes in the background. They had to have that in place before they go ahead and end the shit show, as she puts it, right? But it does lead to sovereign, independent. We're going to be a lot more independent and sovereign financially real soon. That seems to be a real given. I get that. And strength. So it's all going to be worth it. So it's all going to be worth all the hard trouble. Okay, what we might be looking at, like that would be so the Hanged Man. Okay, I'll just do, lots of people don't like this card.
No.
This guy's in a yoga position. He's put himself in a difficult position, just like I think the White Hats have, and the Alliance, and all of humanity, especially us awake ones. We've put ourselves in a very difficult position because we've been out there, especially those of us showing our face online and talking about this stuff. Okay, so, but this card says, we'll be enlightened through the process. This will be worth the wait. So once again, it's not really telling us when. It's just saying, you got the strength. You'll have the strength. We'll be stronger for it. Everything's worth the wait. Humanity's going to be so many benefits to humanity. Like we're not going to be enslaved. And it's been speeded up by the other dimensionals or off-worlders, whatever you want to call them. But it's not saying when.
Well, of course not. We can't do dates. But I align with all of that because I've called this spiritual quarantine the last couple of years. And all the attacks I've had. I mean, I could write a book about the attacks that I've had, spiritual, demonic, and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just, I keep telling everybody on my channel, it's like we're being tempered like steel. We're just getting stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's actually a wonderful process. I know it's long. I know everybody's fed up with it, but just, if we can just live in the present moment, we'll be fine.
Yeah. Like find joy in your present moment, spend time with people you love and who appreciates you and who you appreciate. Make sure, like I had a coffee this morning with somebody that really aligns with all my way of thinking. And it's so hard to find people like that, right? Yeah.
I had a coffee at lunch with a new friend of mine, and she's totally on, and it's amazing to have that. 20
so
minutes
much fun. Yeah, it's just so necessary because you get each other. Like you need to spend time around like-minded, because there's a lot who don't know what you're talking about. That can feel really lonely, but find the joy and focus on what has gone right in your life, not only what's gone wrong, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
That's our bet. That's all we got. We got right now, and we're maybe learning to live more in the present moment.
Well, a couple of my friends have had relatives commit suicide in the last 6 weeks, and I've said exactly the same thing to them. It's like you have to look at these moments as something that shows you how much you've actually got, and then you need to start appreciating that more. And it's hard. I know people watching this will be going, it's too hard. It is hard, but it's all good for our souls.
Marinated. That's the word I was thinking. Marinated. You said tempered. I'm thinking marinated. We're getting marinated. And we'll be stronger. That's what that strength card's all about. You get stronger through difficulty.
I'm not sure I like the marinated thing, because what happens to marinated meat? It goes on a barbecue. We're going to get fried.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. We've got one here from Janet UK. Will the UK go through the banks collapsing? What about our money? And a lot of people are asking me this at the moment. And I spent a couple of hours talking to a friend today about diversifying where your money is into gold and silver and crypto and different shares like AMC and stuff like that, if you've got any, because it's just pragmatic. But people are genuinely worried about the banks collapsing. And will the energy companies really charge the huge amounts? Because I don't know what they're saying in Canada, but in the UK, they're talking about energy bills going from 5,000 to 10,000 a year.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll start with, as you were asking the question about money, and we're talking about diversifying. That's exactly what popped out. So this card's about not being beholden to a bank, not being beholden to an institution. This is a completely sovereign person who has all of their wealth all around them physically. Okay, so I'm not a financial advisor, but the old silver under your mattress and gold, and if you got some dollars, you might want to. I went on that road trip with my niece to the Haida Gwaii, and everyone was very happy to take cash everywhere we went. We brought cash because we didn't know what was going to happen while we were gone, so we just thought, you know what, let's just bring cash, because who knows if things go down, you're going to need to be traveling at least home. So we literally spent cash, and everybody was happy to take it. So it's an interesting thing to keep as little in the bank as possible if you are worried about it, and diversify to systems that aren't connected to the cabal system. So the regular banks and cabal systems that we know are suspect. Okay, so just thinking about that, if you got a whole lot, you might want to get some of that to a safe place close to you, right? In a safe way. Yeah, so we've got judgment. And so this is wake up call card. And this is a legality and karmic kind of card. So karmically, everything that's happening is meant to happen. So I believe it's time for those systems to go down. Even legally, they likely already have. So if you think about it, I think the petrodollars long died and coughed. And I think places like London and like DC so these places that are their own little country within the country, okay? I believe they're all operating illegally at this point. So that's kind of what that's saying. So our money systems are illegal, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's going to be found out. It's already on the back channel. There's something already in place. Over the next 2 years, we'll even out all of this, and you'll find even if you do lose some, you're going to gain in other ways. I feel like it all comes to a balance, and money, the way we use it and see it, I don't think it'll be existing the same way over the next 2 years. So I don't think if somebody looks at it like they're going to be devastated because they lost everything in their stocks, okay, things aren't going to look like that anymore. We're not going to have a stock market the way we have it now. I really feel like taking care right now of what you have and making sure it's not maybe in a cabal system, if you can possibly, if that's a possibility, making sure you're connected to systems that are somewhat sovereign from the government in particular, right? Governments are not your friends. Okay, we're all figuring that out. What appears to be the government right now is actually all capitulated, most of them anyway, and they're not your friends anyway. Those guys are going to collapse. So those systems will collapse. But I think there's something on the back channel, not to save everybody, but actually to have a little bit of a cushy blow. Like it'll be a blow to everybody, but we'll be cushioned somewhat because they got things put in place. But I think we'll just have to start looking at things different, thinking more about trading, thinking more about exchanging energy for somebody else's services. Like things will change, and we're all going to have to get together and agree in different areas how that's going to look. But let's look at the rising energy cost in particular in the UK. Let's look at that. We're not hearing it so much here, which is really interesting because Canada's known for really high prices on natural gas, etc.
Well, it's crazy in Ireland as well, because most of the houses around here are powered on oil tanks in the garden, and obviously that's tripled in price in the last year. And in the UK, I was with my mum last week, and she was terrified about the electricity prices. It really is quite a serious issue.
Okay. There's going to be a new system that comes because of this, likely around November, which is right about, if you're Canadian anyway, but I don't know about your weather, but we'd be needing it by then, right about, because that's my 9th month, but it's also off-world or other dimensional, somehow brought to us by technology that's beyond our knowing right now. And it's karmic and necessary to switch over to that. So there's going to be a big switch over, and it's very unexpected. There could be a lot of things go down between now and then that creates this totally unexpected, nothing like what people are thinking is happening. So your whole systems go down, but I feel like they're replaced or already maybe in the back channel been replaced. So something goes online at the same time. It's already sitting there in the background, and it gets switched on right when things look again, scare tactic to wake people up.
I concur with that. I have seen a number of pictures and videos recently of things going up all around the world that look like Tesla towers, but on a more sort of day-to-day basis. I have a friend here who's like a telecoms engineer, and at the beginning of all of this, I was asking him about 5G towers, and he said, yeah, they're going up. And then 2 weeks later, he said, no, they're not going up. And then he's been busy with a massive team of people going all over the country installing something, but he won't tell me what it is. So yeah, I concur with that.
It's for the people, and it's going to be of value to the people. So that's interesting for the general population. So another thing, I've been reading on 5G. People have asked nonstop for 2 or 3 years. The first time I ever read on it, I surprised the heck out of myself and everybody listening and said, it is not dangerous. If it was, it has been switched over to something. And I've been consistent with that with the cards. There's nothing to fear, but it was designed to kill us.
Yeah.
So, but it's not anymore. So that was something taken out by the good guys a long time ago and switched over.
Covefi, remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
But I think Trump did it as like, I had a cup of kaffe in his
Yeah.
tweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
love that man.
So funny. Yeah.
Okay. I know you've had this question tons of times, but people keep asking it. And that's the only reason I'm going to ask this one. But Elaine Horton Bennett said, any updates on med beds to be rolled out in plain sight, please?
Okay. Oh, so now we're getting a yes, when in the past I always got no and not to encourage it. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Now we're getting a yes. So and it has something to do with Trump and the White Hats or the alliance. So I don't know, why that would be. Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense. They have knowledge of the technology. So they've got a hold of, or they're ready to, and maybe already rolling out the technology. So there's a yes there, and that usually I get no on it, and that we need to focus on other things and not sit around hoping for med beds. But that maybe that's because it wasn't time to hear about this. So that's interesting. So deals have been made in the background, and certain companies or certain peoples are going to be bringing them out. So it feels like they maybe even picked and chose people that they thought would be reliable or for the people to roll these things out. Some people will be fraudulent. So there's going to be some disappointment around. So to really do some research around ones that make sure the company that you're going to get med bed treatments from is connected somehow. Like, we're all going to have to keep an eye on the situation. I'll definitely, once, if they actually roll these things out, literally, I'll do some readings on which ones are good and which ones aren't, because there's going to be good ones, really good ones, and then there's going to be some disappointing ones, and they're going to be available to absolutely available here. So yeah, it's a yes now.
Good. That is good.
Yeah.
I just want to tell one thing I noticed in your recent video, Tom, in the comments, is a lot of people didn't realize they're saying, "Oh, I missed Janine," and I'm like, "Well, she's got a website." And obviously, not everybody. One of the funny things about doing this is we assume everybody knows when you tell them, but they don't. So I'm just going to.
Yeah.
How's the website going? What's it like being off YouTube?
It's actually great because I get to say whatever I want. Also, I'm not edited. So some people, like, my videos used to look really slick because Guy edited them, and that's all fun and everything, but I'm super raw, unedited, and uncensored. So it's just me. And I got a format, kind of what you have here with the two boxes. In one of the boxes, I show the cards. So it doesn't look as slick as when Guy would pull up that nice square with the cards. But, I got over like the Hollywood look. Okay, I'm not looking like Hollywood anymore. But I'm just
you don't want to look like Hollywood anyway.
Right, exactly. I'm just Janine trying to get you some answers. So to me, it's like kind of homegrown-y looking. So some people might not like that, but I think most people like it. And I do have quite a large, I think I got 18,000 on there.
Wow.
Right. So that's pretty good. I mean, there are a lot more people out there who don't know. Obviously, I had
that's why I brought it up, because
100,000, subscribers, and 150 on one and 100 on the other. But a lot of those could have been bots. A lot of those could have been haters too. Like, some of the comments showed me that a lot of those people were following me just to take me down. But there's still a lot that need to find me, and I think they'll eventually. The right ones will come and find the website.
But it's tarotbyjanine.com, right?
Yep, real simple.
I'm a subscriber. I get you on in the car because I'm doing a lot of driving, so I get you on in the car, which is great.
Oh, all right, awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that's going well for you, and it is wonderful not to have to. I mean, the censorship we've had to do for ourselves. I mean, my channel, my YouTube channel is on the last strike. And it's gone. It's the second one. I already lost one last year. That's why I'm not going to put this up on YouTube, but we'll get over on Rumble and see how it goes there. So go and subscribe. If you're missing Janine, go to tarotbyjanine.com. And it's great. And it's great that you're still doing it. Thank you. Okay, Herminda. Yeah, this is about I put this in because what's going on in the UK is I know every country is interesting, right? And I know I'm from the UK, but I think a lot of my subscribers are. And this leadership contest, Boris Johnson being gone, the question is, could you do a reading on the Conservative leadership contest, Rishi and Liz, these two crazy characters that should have no place near a leadership election? Are they both black hats? Are they being played by actors? Is a big event planned in the UK around their selection day? And does Boris still have a part to play?
Those two are actors. They're to completely being run by Mr. T and the White Hats, okay? We've got capitulated people who've made deals to play out these parts, which is probably why they're misbehaving, okay? Because they've been told to be the worst scenario of what it would look like if you were a black hat. And that's what they got Biden doing. Look at how obvious that is. That movie is so obvious. And it looks like this one too. So yes, these guys have capitulated. And yes, this part's the yes too. Is there going to be some kind of a situation? When is the date? Because that's a big yes to that part of the question.
I don't actually know. I think it's in a couple of weeks. This is why I've been interested about this period, because they've done all this during the recess of parliaments, taken all the governments down, and then the governments have to come back like kids go back to school. It seems to me like the next few weeks are going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah, you bet. And this is a government kind of card, but it can also be a white hat and or alliance type card. And so they're in control, and everything you're seeing is a movie there in UK right now.
Fantastic. Good. Okay, I'm going to ask this question just because I spoke to him yesterday and I saw his face, which was amazing. This is from Jason Davenport in Thailand / Canada. I don't know how that's possible. Could you do a reading on 107?
Okay. You saw his face in person?
Yeah, I spoke to him on the phone.
Wow.
And I was like driving, and I was like, "Whoa, it's 107."
and did he look like he had a mask on or a bodysuit?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think so.
Yeah.
That is not, I mean, I think, who I think he is.
Yeah. Sometimes just watching him, I can feel the bodysuit intuitively I'm not seeing his truth there.
I mean, if it was who I think it was, it's the greatest moment of my life.
Wow. So they just phoned you up while you were driving?
No, Lewis Herm, who's running the Truth Tour, called me from his hotel room, and he'd just done an event with him. Yeah. And he said, and I said to him, is what, who do you think Juan is? And he said, we had a kind of chat. And he said, do you want to speak to him? I went, what? Yeah. And I had my two girls in the car. I was, driving Dad's taxi. And then there he was on my phone. And I was like,
oh my God.
That's who I think it is. I just
he's definitely preparing to let the cat out of the bag here about who he is.
Definitely.
So that feels like he's planting a lot of hints there. And we're gonna all have the big picture here, because that's move it out of troubled water when you get clarity on something. That's coming real soon, it looks like. So that's good. And it'll be like a celebration of sorts. So I wonder if a group of people might step out of their bodysuits at the same time and show us who they are. One of them's going to be a woman who's a water sign.
Ooh.
Princess Diana. Cancer, maybe. So, wow. Bring it on, I say. I feel like there's going to be a situation where three of them step out together at the same time.
Well, that'd be good. Do you know? Have you ever watched Charlie Freak?
Oh, I love Charlie Freak, but I have a hard time finding how to watch him.
I think he's on Rumble, but I like Charlie Freak a lot, and he did this brilliant about a year and a half ago. I did a show with him, and he talked about this Scooby-Doo moment when they all come out and just take their masks off.
Yeah,
I keep dreaming of. I'm trying to manifest that.
Yeah,
I think it's definitely there.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think you guys watching know who we're alluding to, but thanks for doing that. That would be just amazing.
Yeah.
I put this question in from Marie Cotter because she wants to know about New Zealand, and she says, look, everybody goes on about Australia and nobody mentions New Zealand. And I'm sure people do, but it is overlooked compared to a lot of other countries. So, you know, she's asking what's going on in New Zealand. And also, can you ask if Jacinta is a tranny male?
Yeah, I've gotten that person is a male, 100%. And a total.
Janine, do you know what's really interesting?
Huh.
I have a friend from New Zealand whose dad, before when this all hit, I was saying this to him, and he said, "No, my dad used to teach you in school. It's a girl," and I was like, "How long?" So they turn them at birth, don't they? That's that's the reason why.
They were a child and turned. Think about that little hysterical girl with the braids on climate change. What's her name again?
Oh, Greta.
That's a boy.
Oh no.
And Greta's dad is a girl, and Greta's mom was a boy at birth. If you look closely, well, especially the mom is absolutely, can't even be more obvious. The opera singer mom, was actually a boy for sure. And I'm pretty sure I got the card said the dad was a girl. So they do all the switching really young, within 1 to 3 years old. There's all of these stages they go through to make sure they don't, the boys don't grow Adam's apples and things like that. So they use hormones and a series of tucks and clips, and it's just horrifying. But there's tons of videos on it. So you can absolutely look up how they do it. Okay, so we've got, what's that?
I was just wondering, did you ever watch Mary 40?
No.
She was an Australian woman on YouTube, and she did tons of stuff on Hollywood and all of this. She was brilliant.
I never did. No.
I can't find her anymore. I don't know if she's even alive. I'd love to. I just wondered then if you'd heard of her.
I do watch a lot on that, and I find it fascinating, just fascinating. So we were asking about New Zealand. So most of what's happening in New Zealand is cloaked and presented and not how it's being presented. So I think we're talking capitulation and et cetera. There was a deep problem, and probably they're still working on clearing out tunnels there. It feels like the child trafficking issues were off the charts, and lots of work to do there. So probably they really needed to have the movie running over there so they could pull off all their operations in the background. They've had some really good success though around that with the cover of the shit show that's been going on in their government. So people need to realize what's going on in the background is a big cleanup. And it's not being run by dark hats, even though it's absolutely feels like it. But you guys are about to have a breakthrough where it looks things are getting a lot better for New Zealand. They went through really hard times. I know they've had it really rough. So have Australians, so have Canadians actually. And a lot of people in different areas have had varying degrees of it really bad. But it's like the movie got ramped up really big so they could cover up some operations, and in particular to do with the tunnels and children, which looks like it was a very big operation there.
Well, I remember reading a few years ago that there were like 1 million Satanists that wanted to move to New Zealand and have that as their safe place, and there are tons and tons of tunnels underground.
Yeah,
there was even stuff about Benedict Cumberbatch and the real Dark Judge. Did you ever look at his stuff?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It feels like that's largely been taken over, and they've been blown up. Let's just say, so that's death and dying, and so you're talking about these things that's all been undone, but there's a lot of cleanup there. It feels like a real hard job to clean out those tunnels.
I've got another personal question that's just popped into my head, and it's to do with the movies. Now, there's been 2 movies recently that I think have been fabulous white hat movies. One is the new Elvis film.
Oh, I loved it.
Oh, it's amazing. What a film.
I loved it.
I've been playing Elvis every night since I've seen it. It was amazing. Yeah. And the other one was the new Top Gun film. Okay. The question I've got is that we know Tom Hanks and
Yeah.
Tom Cruise super bad.
Yeah.
So how did they make those films? Are they the real actors? How do they pull it off? Is that them?
So what I got is the Tom Hanks. So I've looked into this. So the Elvis movie, the Tom Hanks is, so they sketch in, like they get a body type and then they do CGI for the face. So that they use somebody doing all the movements and then they CGI the face and voice. So it's partly real, partly CGI. And of course, we know they can do that.
Well,
right?
I mean, the way that they did Tom Hanks in that film was so good. It's
Yeah.
like the best presentation of how brilliantly they can recreate somebody.
Yeah.
Because he was in a fat suit and his face,
Yeah.
it was extraordinary.
It was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
what I found really interesting about that, Janine, was that film was really the Colonel and Elvis was like God and the devil all the way through,
Yeah.
because he became more and more evil as the film went by.
Yeah,
It kind
totally.
of dawned on you how unbelievably evil he was.
Yeah.
didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I totally got that. And you know, I used to badmouth Elvis before I channeled him. So I did this whole channeling series, and I just used to think, oh no, he's got to be bad, but I didn't know for sure, and I hadn't done any channeling. So I did a channeling series, and lo and behold, right on camera, I was red pilled into seeing he was so beautiful to channel and had such a great sense of humor that after that, then I was in love with him. I love that guy.
Yeah. I've been listening to
oh my God.
If I Could Dream. That song is the greatest song ever.
Yeah. Turns out Elvis is a hybrid of some kind. So he's got some kind of off-world, like starseed type, like a lot of us, right? Yeah. So he's special.
Oh yeah.
And, he's special. So that other movie, we're looking at that other movie now. What's it called again?
Top Gun Maverick. Because Tom Cruise in that.
Yeah.
That was a brilliant film. Totally wholesome, exciting, brilliantly made. Tom Cruise is enigmatic, brilliant in it, but I just don't think he's around.
Yeah, it wasn't him for sure.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is hidden somewhere and in not a very fun environment. So likely he's in prison of some kind. Yeah. So those two cards together, not good. So, and he's hidden, like he's not nowhere you would know. So that he wasn't anywhere near that movie. Okay. And it was trying to show some truth about something. So I don't know. I didn't watch it, so I couldn't say. And you're really good at deciphering those. One of the first times I ever watched you was you did, what was it?
James Bond?
The Dark Knight. It was.
Oh yeah, no, the Batman.
I loved it. Then I was, oh my goodness, I couldn't get enough of watching.
I'd love to do more. I'd love to do more of the movies.
It was so good. Yeah. So then I went directly the very next night to the movie after I watched your video, and I was taking my own notes. It was just fascinating. But so they're trying to show some truth there for sure.
Yeah.
And whoever was playing Tom Cruise, they were using him for the good now. So they're using his image. So they're using him like a brand. But the good guys, not the bad guys.
Did you see that viral video about deep fake with Tom Cruise that went crazy? I think that's why they did that. It's same as they did the deep fake Queen's message on Channel 4 in the UK.
They showed us exactly how they did it. Yeah.
No, the funny thing is, the girl that did that, the actress, I used to do stand-up comedy with 30 years ago. Really funny.
Awesome.
Wow. Look, we've done an hour, and I know that's about enough. We've asked a lot of you. I've got one more question though.
Okay.
One more question, and then we'll call it quits. And the reason this is timely because Tracy Clarkson says, "Hi Mark, I would love to know what the cards have to say on Jetson White's take on things. I don't know if you know Jetson White. He's a really good guy. Tom's had him on his show. I've not met him. I think a lot of him, but I think she's specifically talking about Jetsons saying that the rapture is going to happen on September the 3rd or 4th, I think. Yeah, so I think that's the question.
His take on things, the world, the sun. Well, he's definitely really evolved and working for the good.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he might even be directly connected to the Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
So in my opinion, the Alliance, when I say that, what I mean by that is the more off-world or other dimensional version of the White Hats.
Yeah.
Right. So there's some on-the-ground human White Hats, and there's also some other dimensional and input from intelligences that are beyond our comprehension. He's connected to that bunch, the latter. Okay. Yeah. And it looks like he knows the whole story. He's been to the future. He sees what's coming. He knows good things are coming, but he also is put in place. So he's placed to say what he says. So he could have mixed good good information or information that'll help everybody get through it. So it's not always 100% accurate, but he's been told or he's agreed to say certain things. So yeah, he's preparing people in a way, I guess. And he was destined for this. This is his destined karmic work with humanity. Yeah,
Jets, if you're watching this, you need to come on my show.
He's just doing his work. Yeah, he's just doing his work. And he's a hard-working starseed. Like he's
great. But he's talking about us actually going up in the air, I think, and, going through the whole biblical rapture.
Yeah. I think spiritually there might be a lot of truth to that. And some people might even feel it that way. But I feel like you'd have to be evolved to even see it that way. Someone else might feel it a different way.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Cool. Brilliant. Well, it's been amazing spending this last hour with you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Likewise, Mark.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And I hope you guys enjoyed watching it because I wanted to ask your questions, and thank you if you ask those questions. Thank you very much. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Janine.